I'm Richard Duncan. I was in the United States Air Force from 1964 through 1968. From 1966 through 68, I was stationed at Beale Air Force Base at the 9th RTS Squadron in support of the SR-71 Blackbird. We would go TDY to anywhere in the world in support of the SR-71 and the photographic pictures that it took. In April of 1968 through July of 1968, I would be stationed at Kadena Air Force Base in Okinawa. This is some of the pictures that I took while stationed those 4 months in Kadena Air Force Base. This is north of the runway at Kadena Air Force Base. All this brown you see out here is coral that has been washed up ashore that sticks to itself and just forms a base out here. You had to be careful with this coral if you happen to trip or fall and had a little skid mark or something on you where you had scraped. The material in this coral would burn and it would be real hard to heal, so you really wanted to watch your footing when you was in this area. This is just some of the pictures from downtown Kadena Air Force Base. This is the generators, the new improved type generators that we had. They replaced the old generators from Vietnam. These was 2 D343 Caterpillar engines mounted in a large trailer. These was real quick. They stayed on the trailer all the time. You didn't raise the wheels off of it, and in just a matter of minutes you could hook onto this trailer and be at the airport and load them on transport and go where else you wanted. One of the main purposes, besides a whole lot better engines on these generators, was to have it where we could get out in just a few minutes. This is some of the photographic trailers that film from the SR-71 was brought into here and be developed in just a few minutes. Anytime that we had this film come in to be developed, we would fire up our generators and supply electrical power to these trailers. They wanted a continuous flow of electricity and didn't want it to be interrupted, because if it did, just for a few seconds, it could run your entire batch of photographs. You can see the cables running along the bottom of this trailer. That comes from our generators and run down to each trailer, and there is a line. Sometimes it could be close to 20 trailers running down, and they would have little partitions in between these doors from one to the next, where it was like one continuous flow all the way down as that photograph was being developed. This is some of the ships in the harbor at Kadena Air Force Base. This is looking northward from Kadena. It's the main road that run north and south. This is more ships along that harbor. These people right here would, after the high tide would come up and it would leave out of a morning, they would come down and look for certain type of shells and fish that they would catch, and would take it to the local market and trade it. These two scuba divers in this area were out looking in the, you can see the darker water is the deeper holes where this coral is pretty deep, and some of your larger fish and shells would stay in there when the tide would go back. I've seen these people go in here sometime, and it take as many as 4 of them to they would actually catch these fish with their hand and bring them out of there, and some of them that was in these holes were huge. This is the golf course on Kadena Air Force Base. This is the end of the runway on the north part of Kadena Air Force Base in case the military aircraft didn't get up in enough time. They would use this little road path they got going out, and they kept it graded and bladed pretty good, and it would go out into the Pacific Ocean out there where the aircraft would go if they needed to. This is the coral again, looking along the coastline there. You see several people out there, and again they're looking in these holes. These people make a living doing this. They find all kind of oysters, and this area is known pretty well for the oysters that they would collect and take down to the local market. And they had a place in there that would buy them before they opened them up and see if they happened to have a pearl in it, or they would wait and see if they had a pearl, depending on the price you wanted to accept for what you had. This again is looking out onto the main runways, running in this area mostly north and south on Kadena Air Force Base. This is another shot of basically the same thing. In the distance is the golf course and a road running in that same area where we was at. This is the main airports. There's two different big sections. One here, we was on top of a hill when we took this picture with a zoom lens. It's actually further across there than what it looks like. This is the main road in downtown Kadena. This is where most of your better eating places and your clubs, your bars, your go-kart racing, whatever you may want is up and down this road. This is an airplane from running off of the airport. This is another airplane, same area. They were pretty difficult to see, but there was several real pretty little blue fish in this area. This is one of the holes where they would catch some of this stuff that had been washed up over the night. This is a shot of the same area. Again, you can see people in the distance that were checking for fish and shells. This is near the main entrance to the gate at Kadena Air Force Base. This is the same area near the main gate. This is the main gate going into Kadena Air Force Base. This is the same area with the golf club behind the building in the distance here. These old tombs, a lot of them call them pyramids. They're some of your ancient rulers that was in this area. These things are pretty well off limits to the military and everyone. They was in World War II. The United States and its allies had a difficult time getting what they call the Japs out of this area. They would be backed up in these things, and a lot of them still have those doors open. That's been bombed pretty bad from World War II, and you can see all kind of pots and pans and skeletal remains up in those things. This again is part of the golf club. The main road running from the main gate. This is from the top of a huge hill looking across where the runways and the golf course and the military housing units is at on the base. This is the playgrounds for the military housing. This is a better shot of what these old tombs look like. When we first got here, we got a briefing on these things, and that was one of their main priorities, was to warn everyone to please do not get around these things, because there is very dangerous snakes in this area. These snakes, they say that if you're a smoker and one of them happens to bite you, go ahead and light your cigarette up, because then you'll never live to finish that cigarette. A lot of these doors on some of these buildings have been blowed off, and you can ease up that away with caution. And you can see pots and pans and skeletal remains up in there, and it doesn't look very inviting to go into. This is another one of them. This one and a few more are in real good shape. They weren't bombed or destroyed too bad. This one in the distance is one of them, one of several that they do warn you, do not under any circumstance go out in there. With the water around like it is, and the snakes and all, and you can see where the distant dark holes where the door like that they have has been blowed off or removed, and they have restored quite a few of them, but the ones like this one and all, the workers don't even want to go out around them. This is a little bit better shot. Some of these things I zoomed in on pretty good when I took them, and the zoom is not too good on a lot of these pictures.